Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing great this week. My name is Emily and today we're going to talk about my TBR for Tome Topple Readathon round 12. So Tome Topple was started by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. The basic idea is that you try to read as many books as possible that are over 500 pages. This upcoming round runs from August 8th to the 21st. I think this is the third Tome Topple this year. Not that I really mind doing so many Tome Topple readathons because I always have so much fun with this readathon. I think it's a great time to get over your fear of those big books that you've been avoiding and actually get into them and read with other people as well. So it's a challenge I always enjoy, and of course I've set myself a fairly ambitious TBR. So at every Tome Topple there are a set of 9 prompts or reading challenges. I think there's a visual for it. It's like a bingo board. It's available on the Tome Topple Twitter, but I'll also put it up here. I'll link the rest of the info about the readathon in the description below. Of course, you don't always have to adhere to the prompts if you are already reading tomes, but it's always fun to meet all of the challenges. Okay, so let's get right to it. Let's talk about my TBR. So the first prompt is the tome that has been on your TBR the longest. So going strictly off of my Tome Topple TBR shelf on Goodreads, I think Nevernight has been on my TBR since I think 2016. So Nevernight by J. Kristoff is about a girl called Mia who is seeking revenge against those who killed her family, and she is in an assassin school. So this book is a booktube darling, and I know there are people who really love it. I know Sam from Thoughts on Tomes is one of those people who loves this series, but I've also heard from other people whom I really respect that this book is actually not that great. I mean, I know Daniel Green didn't particularly like it, and I think Cindy from Read with Cindy also didn't really like it either. So there are some mixed, rather polarizing opinions from all kinds of people whose opinions I respect. So this is going to be an interesting reading experience. Next up on my TBR is a tome audiobook. Chances are I'm going to read a lot of the books on this TBR on audiobook, or a mixture of audiobook and physical or ebook. But there is a tome that I have been trying to get to for the last 3 months. I think it's been on my TBR list for the last 3 months, and that is Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. Of course, this is the second book in the Mistborn trilogy. I had been meaning to read it back in May and June, and in July I just kind of forgot about it. I was doing Cosmere Along, and I was on the Cosmere Along Discord server, but then they never scheduled the read along. So I checked out the Discord server to see what was going on, and it turned out that one of the hosts was kind of called out for racist remarks and just left Twitter and YouTube and basically the internet. And essentially the Cosmere Along was left in disarray and people were moving to different servers and such. It was really confusing. But in any case, I was planning to finish the Mistborn trilogy anyway this year. So yeah, I'm hoping to get around to Well of Ascension this Tome Topple. The third prompt is the tome you've most recently acquired. That would be The Dragon Republic by Rebecca Kwong. I read The Poppy War during the last Tome Topple and I enjoyed it immensely. So the Poppy War trilogy is set in a world that is very much based on modern China. Rebecca Kwong takes a lot of elements of modern Chinese history and culture and incorporates it into this fantasy world. The main character is called Rin, who comes from a peasant background, but she tests into a very prestigious military academy in order to escape a horrible arranged marriage. And at this academy, she encounters a lot of stigma from her class status, but she also discovers she has some very special magical abilities. And the second half of the novel sees that country devolving into warfare with what is essentially a stand-in for the Japanese Empire. So yeah, I really enjoyed the Poppy War, and I heard the Dragon Republic takes it up a notch. And I think the third book, The Burning God, I think is soon to be released. I know people are going crazy about it, trying to get it on NetGalley. I'm not sure I will get around to Dragon Republic necessarily during this readathon, but I am planning to read it very soon, so I may as well set it as a goal. Next up is a standalone tome. For this one, I think I'm going to pick A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. So this book, I believe, is about 4 college friends and the novel follows their lives and explores their very traumatic experiences. Like, everyone I've watched on BookTube who's read this book has said they ended up crying a lot or being severely messed up at the end. And I've had it on audiobook for a while, and I'm trying to make it through my backlog of books right now, so I may as well listen to that one as well. Next up is read one tome, but I'm probably going to have that overlap with one of the other prompts in this list. The next prompt is a tome written by a Black author. For this, I think I'm going to reread Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is the first book of the Broken Earth trilogy. I actually read the Fifth Season back in summer of 2017, but I read it at a time where I was really distracted. I was about to move to the UK and I was preparing for my master's degree at the time. So I was really distracted, and I think I didn't pick up as much from the book as I should. At the time, I didn't really think much of the book, but I think now when I'm less distracted and able to focus on the story, I might appreciate it a lot more. And I've forgotten so much of it anyway, so I feel like if I moved on to the next book, I wouldn't have a lot of appreciation for that either. And everyone has been singing so much praise for this book and this trilogy, and N.K. Jemisin in general is an author I want to get into a lot more. Next up is a tome from a genre you don't usually read. For this one, I'm also going to go with A Little Life. A Little Life is a work of literary adult fiction. I don't read a whole lot of literary adult fiction these days. I read The Goldfinch during the last Tome Topple. I also read other selected works of literary fiction throughout this year, but overall it's not a genre that I read a lot of. So yeah, we're gonna go with A Little Life. Next up is the tome on your TBR with the most pages. For this, I'm going to go with Ash, A Secret History by Mary Gentle. This was actually given to me by a friend and highly praised. I believe this is a work of medieval fantasy, but apart from that, I don't know much about it. But it is over 1,100 pages long, and that is the longest tome that I have / know of. Also, I do need to return this book to my friend eventually, so I ought to read it. Next up is a tome you started during another round of Tome Topple. For this, I'm probably going to go with Ash, A Secret History again. I didn't necessarily start it during the previous Tome Topple, but I did put it on my TBR. I guess that counts because I don't have any other tomes that I started during another Tome Topple and haven't finished. I think I have finished all of the tomes that I started during a Tome Topple Readathon, even if I didn't necessarily finish it during Tome Topple. So yeah, we're going to go with Ash, A Secret History again. So I have 6 books on my TBR for Tome Topple. Usually a good goal is to hit around 2 or 3 books for Tome Topple because this is over a period of 2 weeks. So realistically, I'm probably not going to read all 6 books. So chances are I'm going to prioritize Nevernight, Well of Ascension, and Ash, A Secret History. I know that's probably not going to help me meet that many of the Tome Topple prompts, but I want to read what I want to read. So that is my Tome Topple TBR. If you are doing this readathon as well, comment down below with your TBR. Like this video if you liked it, and please subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Goodreads and Instagram, and I will see you in my next video.